One of the reasons a lot of us write diaries is because there are a lot of stuffs that we do not want to share with any living actual person. Secrets, crushes, dilemmas, death, the usual. Today we are going to be talking about the diary of a young teenage girl who took the entire world by storm. Do stick right to the end of the video because I'm going to talk about why this book became such a worldwide controversy as well. So before we begin, do not forget to like, share and subscribe for more upcoming contents. Happy birthday, Anne Frank. Let's start talking about the book. And before that, let me give you a brief tour through one of the darkest periods of world history, the period of Nazism. When Anne Frank was writing her diary, Hitler had taken complete control over Germany, banning the Jews from attending public places such as schools. They could not go to markets and they were limited to live in ghettos and work in Nazi labor camps. A lot of people were even sent to concentration camps where they were slowly killed by hunger and malnourishment. This diary was published by Otto Frank, who was Anne's father and the sole survivor of the Frank family after the Holocaust and after Anne Frank's death. So we need to understand that this autobiography was not written with the intention of it being translated to all the major languages in the world and becoming one of the most popular, most well-read autobiographies in the history of humankind. Anneliese Mary Frank receives the diary on her 13th birthday, and later this would become one of the most important texts of Second World War, making Anne Frank one of the most well-read young novelists of this time. Anne was a lonely child. In spite of having a great relation with her family, her parents Edith and Otto Frank and her sister Margot Frank, she was somewhat of a loner. So the moment she received the diary, it became her best friend and she named the diary Kitty. In her diary, Anne talks about the emotional states that she faces as she grows up, the experiences in her body and her mind as both of it develops, the usual puberty stuff. And she talks about her crushes, people she admires, people who admire her. It is quite lighthearted in the beginning. The second half of the diary, however, gets pretty dark quickly because Anne's family has to go to hiding. They are shifting from one town to another. Otto Frank's business suffers a serious setback, and Anne's family, along with the family of Otto's business partner, they are all forced to live together in one tiny cramped annex. The tension in the book in the second half is palpable. Anne says that there were a lot of times when one of the members would go out and the others would wait with bated breath for them to come back alive. Anne, who was 15 now and a self-proclaimed chatterbox, was no longer very happy and jolly. She was beginning to write about world politics and she had a clear-cut idea about various worldviews. Anne could not talk to her family members or her sister and even Peter, with whom she had a budding romance, because it was one of those times when people could not really talk to other people about how they felt, and it was one of those times when everyone had something of a political stance. Amidst all of this, Peter and Anne have sort of a budding relationship, and it is kind of heartbreaking to see because it is so pure and innocent, and we as ominous readers, we are aware that this is not going to meet any fate. Nothing is going to come out of this beautiful thing that is happening. Finally, Otto Frank is deported to a concentration camp, and Edith, Margot and Anne, they're taken to an all-women labor camp where first Margot and then Edith and Anne, they all gradually die and they're separated from each other. They die due to hunger, malnourishment and work pressure. Since this book was never meant for publication, there is nothing that you see which is out of the ordinary. There is no twist, no surprising turns, no heroic outcome of events. But you'll be surprised to see how a 13-year-old girl can write such lucid and such a beautiful account of her life. I have the habit of writing diaries, so when I read the diary entries that I wrote as a teenager, I feel like I've written complete gibberish. So if you are associated with these emotions that come with diary writing, this is like the perfect read for you. Anne Frank's diary will surely make you feel better about all the struggles that you are going through, because Anne Frank's emotions are extremely raw. They are very, very relatable, but most importantly, they were not written for public consumption. It is not at all crafted. After this book was published, a couple of leading magazines claimed that this was a completely fake account and there was no such diary. This was written by some renowned author under some sort of ghost name. But the publisher, which originally published the diary, they undertook a forensic test and proved that the diary belonged to such a period of time, and it passed through such and such hands. Later, another claim came up that there was no Anne Frank, as in Anne Frank isn't even real. She's like some alternate persona of Otto Frank. But thankfully, even this claim was nullified when a person came forth and expressed to the media that they have actually known Anne Frank for quite some time. You can find more details about these controversies online, and I will cite my sources in the description below. Having said this, I need to tell you this, that this is not at all a dark or a depressing book. You'll be surprised at how light-hearted Anne is. She is going through one of the darkest phases of her life, but her outlook is so positive. And being a person who deals with recurrent depressive thoughts, I find Anne very close to my heart. I don't think this book requires any rating, so I will end this by quoting Anne, a girl who was hiding from the Nazis, a girl who later died out of hunger in a labor camp, a girl who still dreamt of a better world where she would grow up right, marry the person she loved. I'm gonna just quote her. What a wonderful thought it is that some of the best days of our lives haven't even happened yet. I rest my case.